Discover the heartwarming letter from a little girl that changed a powerful sewist's life forever. In the heart of a small Midwestern town, where the summer sun paints the sidewalks a shimmering gold, Lisa worked tirelessly at the local diner. The scent of backyard barbecues drifted through their vibrant neighborhood, while she served pancakes with a smile. Life wasn't always easy as a single mother, but Lisa taught her 8-year-old daughter Emma the value of kindness and hard work. They made the most of what they had, finding joy in evening walks and whispered bedtime stories that wrapped them in warmth and laughter. One day, as the sun set, Emma surrounded herself with crayons, her small hands moving with purpose across the paper. Inspired by her mother's unwavering dedication, she began to write a letter addressed to the new CEO in town, Alex. "Dear Mr. CEO," she wrote, her innocent scrawl brimming with hope, "I want you to know our dreams and struggles." Emma poured her heart onto the page, sharing how they navigated life together with love, laughter, and perseverance. Her words, simple yet powerful, captured the attention of anyone who dared to read them. As the letter arrived at Alex's pristine office, it got buried beneath a mountain of financial reports. For days, he was consumed by the pressures of his corporate empire, his world a glossy facade of success and wealth. Yet, curiosity gnawed at him until he finally unfolded the letter. As he read Emma's heartfelt words about hardship wrapped in radiant hope, a wave of nostalgia washed over him. Memories flickered, reminding him of childhood laughter and a love that was untainted by riches, a distant echo of what truly mattered. But the emotional awakening came with a burden. Alex, locked in his sterile life of privilege, felt the hollowness deep within him. Days turned into sleepless nights as he wrestled with the pangs of nostalgia, longing to reconnect with the warmth of community and family. Could he actually uplift those he barely noticed? Or would he remain ensnared in the superficiality of his existence? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As storms loomed outside, flooding the streets with chaos, the fabric of their town frayed at the seams. The disaster struck, leaving homes battered and spirits crushed. Alex stood at a crossroads, torn between comfort and compassion. The echoes of Emma's poignant letter danced in his mind, compelling him to act. Could he be the lifeline his community so desperately needed? Or would he retreat back to the sterile life of wealth? The clock ticked away the fleeting moments of uncertainty. As shadows loomed in every corner, the little girl's plea resonated louder than ever. Would he embrace the chance to change everything? Or would old habits hold him captive? In the delicate balance of privilege and purpose, the question hung in the air: could Emma's innocence break through the fog of his past, leading him to a brighter future? With the wind howling and rain lashing against the windows, Alex felt a heat rising within him, a fire ignited by Emma's sincerity. The chaos of the storm outside echoed the turmoil brewing inside his heart. He could see people losing their homes, belongings scattered like fallen leaves, and the weight of his inaction pressed heavily on his chest. First, he thought he'd just ride it out, slip back into his office and let someone else handle it. But every time he considered doing nothing, Emma's letter slipped into his mind, each phrase clear as day. "Our dreams and struggles," echoed in his ears like a plea from a child desperate for hope. Instead of retreating into his safe cocoon, he grabbed his coat, barely thinking twice. He rushed out of his office, dodging staff as they fussed over reports and internal memos. He stepped outside, the rain soaking him instantly, and made his way through the chaotic streets. The town was alive with energy, but not the vibrant kind he remembered. It felt raw, real, and dangerously close to despair. He arrived at the town square, where he spotted a group of neighbors huddled together under the eaves of the diner. Their expressions were etched with worry and heartache. A woman with mascara running down her cheek held her toddler close, while an elderly man shook his head, staring at the flooded road that had swallowed his garden. Here was the community Emma had bravely introduced him to, a community in need. "Hey, can I get your attention?" Alex shouted, surprising even himself. The group turned to look at him, their faces illuminating the mixture of disbelief and caution. "I'm Alex," he continued, a tremor of vulnerability in his voice. "And I want to help. I care." As he spoke, he could feel a shift, a spark of interest among the crowd. "We can work together to get through this," he promised. "I'll help coordinate resources, provide assistance. I want to just be some stranger in a suit. I want to understand your struggles." Over the tumultuous sound of the storm, Alex could see the doubt soften in some of their eyes. A flicker of hope began to light the dim corners of their hearts. There was still skepticism, of course, people who had grown wary of empty promises. As they started to respond, others from the crowd gathered around, intrigued by the unexpected sight of their CEO engaging with them, his drenched suit contrasting against their worn clothes. A younger man stepped forward, his voice shaking. "Are you really going to help, sir?" "Yes," Alex replied, his determination solidifying with each word. "Let us meet and figure out how we can do this together." From that moment forward, it wasn't just a rainstorm that was coming down. It was a volcano of emotion erupting, a chance to support one another, to forge connections once buried under layers of indifference. As discussions began, so did plans, ideas swirling like the clouds above. Now standing there, Alex felt the barrier between him and the town crumble. This was the moment he would have to fight for. Could he really change, or would history repeat itself? Would he truly be part of this community? With the rain still falling, he thought about Emma, her innocent hope turning into something extraordinary. As hope blossomed and conversations sparked like fireflies, another thought lingered in the recesses of his mind. What deeper challenges awaited him, and was he prepared for what might come next? The rain continued to pour, soaking through his clothes, but Alex didn't care anymore. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through him, mingling with an overwhelming sense of purpose. There was electricity in the air, a shared spark of determination. Voices rose in the chaos, ideas swirling, and laughter occasionally cutting through the tension. For the first time in ages, Alex felt alive. One woman, her face framed by a frizzy halo of unruly hair, stepped forward. "I'm Marissa," she said, her voice trembling, but her eyes shone with a fierce resolve. "We've started a small community group for times like this. We mobilize resources, food, clothing, whatever we can. But we could use backup and maybe some organization." Her sincerity hit him hard. This was not merely about logistics. It was about people, their lives intertwined in an intricately woven tapestry of hope and despair. "I'll help," Alex affirmed, grateful for her leadership. "Let us bring your group to the table, and I can connect you with additional resources. We can even set up a donation hub right here." The crowd murmured with interest, eyebrows rising. Marissa looked back at him, a flicker of surprise evident on her face. "Really? You do that?" "Absolutely," he assured her, feeling the sincere weight of his words. "I've been too distant for far too long. This is my chance to make it right." They began writing down ideas, everyone clamoring to share their thoughts. Plans bloomed. Supply drives, shelters for those displaced, a community kitchen to serve hot meals. There was laughter mixed with tears, moments of frustration, and bursts of enthusiasm. It was messy and raw, but Alex felt like he was witnessing something beautiful. Amidst the organizing was the tender moment of connection he hadn't anticipated. One elderly woman reached for his hand, wrinkled fingers curling around his own. "You remind me of my son," she said softly, her voice slipping through the noise. "He was the kind of man who always tried to help others no matter how tough things got. It's good to see that spirit in you." He squeezed her hand back, warmth flooding his chest. "Thank you. We'll get through this together." Just then, a loud clap of thunder rattled the ground beneath them, and for a moment silence fell over the crowd. The stark reminder of the storm outside pulled them back, breathing reality into their hopes. The elderly man Alex had noticed earlier shook his head again, his eyes filled with skepticism. "This is a nice talk, but what if it doesn't work out?" he asked, his voice almost a growl. "Then we'll try again," Alex replied, firmness in his tone. "We'll keep adapting. I know there's past hurt and broken promises, but this time it will be different. If I falter, you have every right to hold me accountable. But I promise you I'm here to stay." The old man's face softened, though doubt still lingered in his eyes. Alex continued, "Let's take it one step at a time. We'll communicate and we'll be transparent. This isn't just my project. It's our project. As plans solidified, the rain began to lighten, droplets dancing down in a gentle rhythm. Alex started to feel hopeful in a way he never thought possible. His heart swelled as he watched the community band together, strangers quickly transforming into allies. Just as optimism took hold, a loud scream pierced the moment, slicing through the tranquility that had begun to take root. Help! Someone's trapped. The voice belonged to a child, panic palpable in the air. Alex's heart raced. In an instant the storm seemed to deepen once more, and he could feel the gravity of the situation settling in, pressing against his chest like the weight of the water-filled sky above. What would he find as he rushed to answer that desperate call? Alex sprinted toward the voice, heart pounding with urgency. The crowd's chatter faded into the background as he focused on the little girl's frantic cry. With each step, images of what he might find flashed through his mind: an injured child, a family struggling, a home in ruin. Fear gripped at his insides, but he pushed it down. He zigzagged through the thinning crowd, dodging raindrops that seemed to fall heavier with each passing second. They formed puddles that splashed against his legs, mingling with the mud beneath his shoes. The gaping hole where the community had gathered now felt too chaotic, too vulnerable. Where? He called out, scanning for movement. The girl was standing near a toppled tree on the edge of the park, clutching a pink teddy bear, her face streaked with tears. Over there. Under the branches. She yelled, pointing frantically. A rush of warmth and dread surged through him as he noticed the boughs twisted ominously over a small form hardly visible in the darkening gloom. Without a second thought, Alex dashed toward the tree, shoving aside branches, flinging debris out of the way. Each weighty limb he moved felt heavy with the storm's wrath, and he grunted with exertion. Was it too late? What if he couldn't reach them in time? He had promised to be there for this community. A whimper broke through his thoughts. He spotted a boy, maybe 6 or 7 years old, wedged beneath the roots of the tree. His face, smeared with mud, was twisted in fear. Hey, Alex said softly, crouching low to be eye level. I'm here. We're going to get you out, okay? Just stay calm. The boy nodded, his eyes wide but trusting. Steeling his resolve, Alex began clearing away debris. One limb at a time, he pried the branches apart, feeling the weight of the situation, the boy's vulnerability driving his efforts. Hold on tight, buddy, he urged, feeling the rain continue to drench him. He couldn't afford to look back at the crowd, couldn't let doubt seep in. A couple of women had joined him now, moving aside stones and branches as a team. He felt the collective strength growing with each moment spent in unity, clinging to it as he focused on the boy's face. With a final push and a grunt, the last branch cracked and tumbled away. The boy blinked up at him, eyes full of hope and fear. Gotcha. Alex pulled him out carefully, wrapping him in his arms without hesitation. The child was trembling but alive, and relief washed over him in overwhelming waves. The crowd erupted in cheers, voices mingling with the rain that fell gently around them. Alex set the boy down, kneeling in the mud to catch his breath, heart racing. Are you okay? He asked. The boy nodded, clutching his teddy bear tight. As cheers of relief and applause surrounded him, Alex realized the impact of what had just happened. This wasn't just about logistics anymore. This was about their lives, these connections made amidst chaos. But just as he stood to face the applauding crowd, the elderly man from before stepped forward, his brows furrowed, confusion mingling with admiration. You saved him. Alex shook his head, breathless. We saved him. The man's expression softened. Maybe you're right. Perhaps there is hope after all. But his heart sank when he heard a different voice cry out, this one laced with anguish. Where's my sister? She was here just a moment ago. Panic gripped Alex. Had they lost another? Stay with me, he called to the boy. We need to help find her. Alex turned back to the storm-ridden path ahead. The urgency swelled again, and in that moment, he knew the fight was far from over. Who else was waiting for a lifeline? As he raced down the path seeking answers, the rain fell in unrelenting sheets. What other stories lay just beneath the surface, waiting to surface in the chaos? Alex dashed through the downpour, urgency propelling him forward. The echoes of that girl's cry reverberated in his mind, a haunting reminder that there were others who needed saving. As he splashed through the growing puddles, He glanced back just once to ensure the little boy was still safe, still tethered to the moment. "Stay close," he shouted over the clamor of rain and distant voices, knowing he needed to keep the child anchored amidst the chaos. The boy nodded, determination etched on his face, gripping his teddy bear like a lifeline. They weaved in and out of the crowd, eyes scanning the faces now marred by worry rather than applause. So many were searching, all consumed with fear not just for their families, but for their sense of safety in a world that felt increasingly uncertain. "Where did you last see her?" Alex pressed, kneeling beside the boy, rain cascading down his own face, mingling with sweat and mud. By the swing she was just. The boy's voice cracked, tears streaming down his cheeks, reflecting the agony of loss in that moment. "Okay, we'll find her," Alex reassured, squeezing the child's shoulder. "Let us head there." He turned and led the way, each step filled with urgency as they neared the swings. An awful silence wrapped around them, replacing the once lively laughter of children playing. The swings hung eerily still, swaying gently with the wind. "Stay right here," Alex instructed, glancing back to ensure the boy was still with him, before pushing through the thinning tree branches that stood like sentinels against the storms. His heart raced as he called into the shadows. "Hello? Is anyone there?" The answer was only the sound of leaves rustling and the rhythmic pattering of rain against the earth. Gritting his teeth against growing dread, he fought to maintain his composure. Then he heard it, a faint whimper, barely rising above the sound of rain. Help! Adrenaline surged through him. "I'm coming." He bolted towards the sound, every instinct honed to protect. As he rounded the corner, there she was, a small figure huddled beneath the slide, her body trembling from both the cold and fear. A gust of wind picked up, swirling leaves around them. "Hey!" Alex crouched down, his heart aching at the sight. "You're okay. I'm here to help you." The little girl looked up, big frightened eyes filled with tears. "I can't find my brother." His breath quickened. "What's your brother's name?" "Eli," she said, her voice small and shaky. "All right. We'll find Eli together," Alex told her, reaching out a hand. "You've got to trust me." The girl nodded, hesitantly taking his outstretched hand, and Alex felt hope ignite. "Hold on tight. We're going to get you somewhere safe." As they retraced their steps, Alex couldn't shake the familiar feeling of the weight of hope. People were beginning to gather again, forming a human network of determination. He noticed their eyes concerned yet resolute, a community refusing to disperse even amidst the storm. "Did you see her brother?" Alex urged, approaching a group of frantic parents now scanning the park. He locked eyes with them, a silent invitation for action. "No," one father yelled, voice laced with panic. "He was right here playing a game." Alex felt the urgency fold into an even tighter knot. "We need to search together," he called out, galvanizing them into motion. And as they rallied, voices joined in an unwavering chorus calling names, spreading out, sorting through the chaos. But just when he thought they might succeed, there was a shout from behind him that froze the air. "Wait! Look over there." Alex turned to where the voice directed. A different kind of dread settled in. Something heavier than uncertainty. Something raw that fed on fear. What lay beneath the broken branches could be another child, or perhaps something far worse. As shadows flickered and teeth-chattering cries filled the air, his heart raced more than the rain falling around him. Had they waited too long? He wouldn't let that thought conquer him. "Stay close," he growled, battling against the urge to flee from that ominous direction. They would find Eli, they just had to believe, but would the next heartbeat bring hope or heartbreak? Alex's pulse thundered in his ears as he stepped cautiously toward the dark void created by the fallen branches. The air felt dense, as if weighing on his shoulders, trying to pull him back with 1,000 fears. Around him the crowd shifted nervously, murmurs of dread fluttering through the soaked bystanders. "Focus," he urged himself, forcing his legs toward the voice. Eli's name echoed in his mind. He had to keep moving. He had to stay brave for the little girl at his side. "Are you sure it came from over there?" he shouted, willing himself to sound calmer than he felt. The parents nearby nodded, their anxious faces twisted in concern. "Eli, can you hear us?" a mother cried out, her voice breaking with hope, reverberating through the dampened surrounds. Alex could feel the weight of desperation in every scream. He scanned the area. aware that each moment spent searching was a moment Eli remained missing. With a deep breath, he moved closer to the fallen branches, his heart racing faster. Suddenly they shifted slightly underfoot, a pair of tiny shoes visible at the very edge of the debris. "Eli!" Alex yelled, rushing forward, clearing the soggy wood with urgent determination. As he bent down and pushed the last of the branches away, relief washed over him. There, huddled and trembling, was a frightened boy. Eli's wide eyes blinked up at Alex. "I thought I lost her," he whimpered. "You're safe now," Alex assured him, extending a hand. "Come here." Eli held tightly to a small soccer ball as he reached for Alex. He clung to the older boy's arm like a lifeline, the warmth of his small grasp grounding both of them. "Is my sister with you?" Eli asked, glancing around, seeking his sister within the strangers that surrounded them. "They're looking for her too," Alex replied. "We'll find her together." Before the boy could respond, the little girl beside Alex tugged at his sleeve. "That's my brother," she exclaimed, stepping forward, hope lighting up her small face. Alex felt the relief flood through him, especially as the siblings' eyes locked, certainty blending with joy. "You found him!" she cried, and Eli's worried expression shifted to one of disbelief and then pure happiness. "Yes." He beamed, wrapping his arms around her as best he could. "I knew you'd come for me." In that moment, a warm glow spiraled through the chaotic storm. The crowd broke into applause, a symphony of relief and gratitude, resonating amongst them all. But before the celebration could swell, a distant rumble rolled through the air. The rain intensified and the wind howled, signaling the storm was far from over. "We need to get somewhere safe," Alex called, eyes darting around for an escape. The crowd surged forward, moving together, voices combining into a tidal wave of emotion relief, but still tinged with worry for those who remained unaccounted for. "Stay close, all right?" he instructed the siblings, trying to form a protective barrier around them. As they hurried toward the park entrance, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something still lingered in the air, an electric tension that suggested their ordeal was just beginning. And just as they reached the safety of the pavement, Alex caught a strange flicker of movement in the periphery. Shadows danced across the nearby bushes, and a figure emerged with a twisted look, eyes glinting ominously in the dim light. "Did you think it was that easy?" the voice sneered, sending chills down Alex's spine. What awaited them now? Hope or more peril? Alex's heart raced, each beat echoing like a drum in the silence that followed the figure's mocking words. A hush descended upon the crowd, the applause fading into nervous murmurs. The figure stepped out, revealing a tall, gaunt man dressed in a soaked black coat, dark hair plastered to his forehead. He crossed his arms, a grin stretching wide across his weathered face. "Who are you?" Alex demanded, stepping protectively in front of the siblings. He felt Eli's small hand slip into his, squeezing tightly. "Just a concerned citizen," the man replied, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But I'm afraid your false sense of security won't last long. The storm isn't the only thing you should worry about out here." "What do you mean?" Alex's voice wavered between anger and fear. "Nothing you need to concern yourself with, boy. Just take that little girl and her brother and run back home. They'll be safer there," he chuckled darkly, pointing toward the gathering clouds above. Eli's eyes widened. "No, we can't just leave. We need to help more people." Suddenly, the little girl, who had been quiet in the chaos, stepped forward. "You're wrong. We're not scared of storms or shadows. We're brave." Her voice held a clarity that cut through the tension. The man's eyes narrowed, the smile faltering for the first time. He was taken aback, as if her words held weight he hadn't anticipated. Alex felt a spark of hope. Maybe this man, twisted as he appeared, could be swayed. "Listen," Alex said, keeping his voice steady. "We're all scared, but we can't just back down. We're all in this together." He glanced at the crowd behind him, now a sea of anxious faces, waiting for a leader. A low chuckle erupted from the man. "Together? Isn't that what you thought you'd achieve by rescuing that boy? Spoiler alert. The world is much darker than you think." "Maybe it is," Alex shot back, emboldened, "but darkness can't win if we choose to shine together." Eli looked up at Alex, eyes brightening with unwavering trust. The tension in the air shifted as the crowd began to murmur in agreement. There was something about Alex's words that resonated deep within them, igniting a flicker of solidarity amidst the storm. But the man seemed unfazed, shaking his head. You really think you can save everyone? You don't even know what's coming. He gestured dramatically, rain dripping from his coat like a shroud of ominous foreboding. People will turn on each other when push comes to shove. No, the little girl exclaimed. We all care. We all love. And that's stronger than any storm. A flicker of hesitation crossed the man's face. Alex seized the moment. Stay with us, he pressed. Help us. Show us what you know. The hum of the crowd grew in intensity, a wave of energy rushing through. They sensed the shift. The choice lay bare in front of them. Would they retreat into fear or band together in that shared conviction? For a second, the man looked uncertain, caught between his own darkness and the warmth of the light surrounding them. But then, with a flash of anger, he sneered again and stepped back into the shadows, disappearing just as swiftly as he came. What just happened? Eli whispered, fear mixed with confusion. I don't know, Alex replied, heart still pounding. But we need to move fast. We can't let his words linger. As they turned to lead the group away, Alex's gut twisted with uncertainty. What had the man really meant? What darkness should they fear? Together, they stepped into the rain, determination burning fiercely in their hearts. Yet in the back of his mind, a question gnawed at Alex. With danger creeping closer, how much longer could they hold on to their hope? The rain pelted against the pavement, each drop like a tiny drumbeat, echoing the uncertainty simmering within Alex. Eli and the little girl walked closely beside him, their small frames forming a barrier of warmth against the chill that penetrated the storm. The crowd began to fall in behind them, some casting worried glances towards where the gaunt man had vanished. Alex, what do we do now? Eli's voice trembled, a stark contrast to the anxiety bubbling beneath his brother's calm demeanor. We keep moving forward, Alex replied, his own voice steadier than he felt. We regroup. There are others out there who need us just as much as the ones we've already helped. The little girl nodded enthusiastically, her spirit illuminating the gloom surrounding them. Yes, we can help everyone. We just need a plan. Her faith in their mission stirred something inside Alex, a reminder of the resilience they were all capable of mustering. As they navigated through the rain-soaked streets, the murmurs of the crowd transformed into determination. Alex stole glances back at the faces of those following him. They were filled with hope, desire, and a collective fear that was slowly transforming into a force for change. Alex, what is darkness? Eli asked, peering up with wide, innocent eyes. Is it really as scary as he said? Alex hesitated, grasping for words that didn't make his own fears surface. Darkness is the unknown, Eli. It's the fear that comes when we believe we are alone. But if we stand together, darkness becomes smaller. The rain began to lighten slightly, offering a hint of comfort. As they neared a gathering place, a small community center, his heart soared at the sight of familiar faces. Families huddled together, sharing blankets and food, reminding him that even in the worst of times, humanity could hold strong against despair. See, whispered Eli, tugging at Alex's sleeve. They're not alone. Look how many people are here. His little brother's enthusiasm made Alex's heart swell. Maybe they were winning this little battle. But just as that thought solidified, Alex's gaze fell upon a nearby window. He caught a glimpse of a shadow moving rapidly, darting away from the center. The gaunt man? Was he watching them still? An uneasy chill raced down his spine. Let us get inside, Alex urged, quickening their pace. They crossed the threshold, and the warmth enveloped them like a hug. Once inside, the atmosphere shifted, filling with anxious chatter. Quickly, leaders began organizing the crowd. Alex stood back for a moment, watching Eli and the little girl jumping in to help. His heart ached with pride, but the lingering feeling of uncertainty gnawed at him. Have you heard? A woman nearby whispered to another. Some people are saying we should prepare for the worst. The dire undertone in her voice reached Alex, sending ripples of dread through him. What if the man was right? Would fear make people turn on one another? He approached the two women, heart beating faster. What do you mean by preparing? What's coming? They exchanged glances, hesitation written across their faces. We've heard rumors, the woman finally spoke. About people going missing. The darkness he spoke of is spreading. The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, and Alex felt the weight of it crash down. Eli dashed over, his expression hopeful. "What's wrong?" "Nothing we can't handle," Alex replied, forcing a smile. But inside a storm brewed. They needed to be ready. That moment, just as uncertainty loomed over them, he made a silent promise to himself. He wouldn't let fear dictate their fate. As he looked around, he knew one thing for sure. They were in this together. And that flame of hope? It wasn't about to flicker out so easily. But in the back of his mind, a new worry sparked. If there was darkness approaching, what would it take to protect those he loved? With resolve hardening like steel, he faced the crowd, ready to unite them. But just then a loud crash echoed from outside, silencing every voice within. What was that? The little girl gasped, clutching Eli. Alex felt his throat tighten. Whatever had caused that sound, they had to find out before it found them first. The crowd inside the community center erupted into chaos, voices overlapping with confusion and fear. Their eyes darted toward the doors, waiting for something to emerge from the storm that raged outside. Alex's heart pounded loudly in his chest. He knew they had to act quickly. "Stay close, Eli," he called out, grabbing his brother's hand firmly. The little girl clutched onto Eli like a lifeline, her small face pale with fear. "Alex!" A familiar voice shouted from behind him. It was Karen, one of the main organizers in the center. She rushed over, her face flushed with urgency. "Did you hear that? We need to get everyone to safety." "Safety? From what?" Alex demanded. But the dread in Karen's eyes answered before she spoke. "Reports are coming in. It's not just a storm, Alex. People say something is prowling around. Something connected to the darkness." Her voice trembled slightly, as if the very word itself held weight. He could see the worry etched on the faces surrounding him, remnants of the hope they had just built beginning to crack. But Alex couldn't let that fear spread like wildfire. "We need to stick together, draw everyone in," he emphasized, raising his voice to cut through the chatter. "We'll be stronger united." Around him, people started to nod, knitting their brows in determination. Armed with only their resolve, they formed a semicircle in the open room, waiting for Alex to lead them. But just as he opened his mouth to offer a plan, the doors slammed open with a fierce bang, and frigid wind blew through the entrance, chilling the air. An unfamiliar silhouette appeared, drenched and wild-eyed. It was a figure shrouded in darkness, hunched over. But when it stepped forward into the threshold, Alex's breath caught. It was the gaunt man. "What do you want?" Alex stepped forward, his body instinctively tensing. The man looked ragged, mud-caked and shaking. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, something shifted within Alex. This wasn't merely a stranger cloaked in fear. He was a part of the bigger picture that had been looming over them. "You wanted to warn us, didn't you?" Alex ventured cautiously, his voice softer now. The man nodded slowly, swallowing hard. "They're coming. You need to prepare. They draw strength from fear. If you're scared, they will find you." His eyes darted to the crowd, wide and pleading. Eli's hand trembled in Alex's grasp. "Who's coming, Alex?" he whispered. His innocence fought against the dark reality unfolding. Alex stepped back, his heart pounding louder in his ears. He couldn't let Eli see his fear. "Whoever it is, we will be ready," he assured him, glancing at the gaunt man. "Your unity," the man said, as if forming the words was a monumental task. "It's your only hope," the crowd murmured, glancing at each other in apprehension. Karen flipped through her thoughts, strategizing. "What can we do? How do we fight this?" The gaunt man hesitated, drawing a deep breath. "Find the light within. You must face your fears together. They cannot survive in the warmth of your courage." There it was again, the reminder that hope flickered even in the darkest of times. "And what if we can't find that light?" teased a voice from the rear, cracking through the tension. It was Mike, a local who always had a sardonic comment ready. "Then you'll be lost to them," the gaunt man replied slowly, his face pale but resolute. Alex tried to break through the unease. "We can't dwell on what might happen. We need to focus on what we can control. Together." Suddenly, another loud crash interrupted his thoughts, a sound much closer now, echoing in the corridors of the center. Each breath felt impossibly heavy as everyone turned toward the noise. Fear was creeping in like shadows, stretching long into the evening. "Get help. We need a plan." Alex barked, the urgency in his voice rising. The time for reassurance was over. But as people scrambled, panic rose like steam filling the room. Alex stood his ground, his family beside him, and the weight of the moment heavy on his shoulders. If the darkness was coming, he would not let it take anyone he loved. But could they truly find the light within before it was too late? With that thought, a cloud of dread settled over him, thick and suffocating. The sound of rapid footsteps grew nearer, and Alex realized then that when it came to facing darkness, the real challenge would not just be out there, it would be within them all. This time they would need more than hope. They would need a miracle. Was there still time to ignite that flame before everything they cherished dimmed into shadow? The storm outside began to abate, but an electric tension still pulsed through the room. Alex looked at the anxious faces surrounding him, their fear clinging to the air thick and heavy. The gaunt man's warning echoed in his mind, they draw strength from fear. He took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of Eli and the little girl beside him. Their innocence reminded him of what truly mattered. "We've come so far together," he said, voice steady despite the turmoil swirling in his mind. "We cannot let fear control us. We need hope." Murmurs of agreement shifted through the crowd, but the anxiety was palpable. He glanced at Karen, who was pacing back and forth, trying to keep everyone focused. "All right, everyone," Alex called out, his voice breaking through the chaos. "We need to form a plan, a real plan. Fear will only hold us back. Strength lies in unity." He could see people exchanging glances, some nodding, others still uncertain. "Look around you," he urged, gesturing to the families huddled close together. "We have each other. We'll find that light and push back the darkness." As he spoke, something shifted. The helplessness began to morph into determination. "Let us gather supplies," Karen shouted, her urgency igniting a spark among the crowd. "We'll need food and blankets to support everyone through this night. And we'll set up a lookout." Eli raised a small fist. "I'll help. Me and my sister can keep track of who comes and goes." The little girl nodded enthusiastically. Their eagerness spread like wildfire, igniting hope among the gathered families. They had each faced darkness in some form or another. This time they would confront it together. People began to break off into teams, moving with newfound energy fueled by purpose. Alex found himself swept along by the current of collaboration, his heart swelling with hope. Just then, the loud crash sounded again, reverberating through the community center. Faces froze in fear, but Alex stood firm. "We prepare. We deal with whatever is out there." With a swift sense of leadership, he rallied people into small groups. Each person's contribution felt essential, weaving together a tapestry of strength. They gathered flashlights, blankets, food, and made a circle of safety, each item representing their determination to fight back. Minutes passed like hours, filled with frantic organization, but through the rush, Alex felt a fierce pride. He positioned himself by the door, scanning the dimly lit entrance, his heart racing as they awaited the next challenge. Then, just as the rain began to stop entirely, the door creaked open. Alex braced himself, the crowd falling silent. The figure of the gaunt man emerged, but this time he looked different, less foreboding and more frantic. "Alex, you have to gather everyone," he shouted. "They are coming. But there's something I must show you." Panic flashed across Alex's face. "What do you mean?" "You'll understand when you see." The man stepped forward, revealing a small flickering light hidden within his cloak. "This is the key." He held it with trembling hands, but the light glowed brighter, illuminating the doubts crowding Alex's mind. "Find me at the edge of the park," the gaunt man urged. "Connect with those who've answered the call for bravery. They've come to support you." He could sense the surge of purpose from the hesitant crowd as they rallied. "Let us go together." As they moved, Alex felt a surge of warmth envelop him, not from the sunlight, but from the strength of the people around him. They reached the park just as twilight fell, the last remnants of the storm fading into darkness, but the sky suddenly lit up in a breathtaking display. The fiducial lights bloomed across the park like fireflies converging in unity. People appeared, stepping out of the shadows, carrying the illumination of their shared hope. Faces he recognized but had never truly seen before, neighbors, friends, and even strangers, all drawn together by one single sentiment, the desire to push back against the darkness. Together, Alex whispered, feeling the warmth of their combined fervor. Their hearts united against the distance that had once divided them. And then it happened. As the flickering light mingled with those around him, fear began to break. Shadows retreated. One by one, people stepped forward, joining together, holding hands, illuminating the path ahead. The darkness, once a haunting specter looming, was rendered powerless against their collective power of kindness, love, and bravery. "Look," Eli pointed with wide eyes, filled with wonder. "We're all in this together." They formed a circle, each individual a beacon of light, pushing back against the storms. Alex felt tears of joy stream down his cheeks. In that moment he understood. The true strength wasn't in material wealth or status, but in the bonds they shared. With laughter echoing around them, the darkness receded. This wasn't an end but a new beginning. Alex looked into the faces of those he once barely knew, but now felt a deep connection with. They were family, a community forged in resilience. He turned to the gaunt man, his eyes reflected both relief and newfound hope. "You helped us find our way." As they all stood united, he knew this moment would shape their future. "Together we hold the light. Together we thrive." And as the sky cleared, they held that truth close to their hearts and shared it with one another, illuminating the world around them, forever transforming both shadows and hope. Now, dear viewers, this is the moment to take part in our story. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that build these beautiful journeys. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the warmth. Comment below about how this story inspired you, what changes you're excited to make, and the light you find within yourself. And lastly, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and illuminate their lives. Remember, only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. You need to be a part of this journey.